What up, Depth Chart? It's your boy, young broadcaster Jared Young, here on the set of the 2 Point Perspective with my co-host Miles Sweeney. Miles on the mic. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good. I overcame the odds this week. I beat the allegations.
I don't know about that.
I let Jared make one post on the socials, and he just tearing me to the ground. But you know what? I built myself back up.
Listen, man. Don't give me control of the social media if you're not prepared for it.
I learned the lesson.
Yep. Yeah. You learned your lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Miles is not a fraud. Only in fantasy. Only in fantasy football.
We'll get into why I'm not.
It's young broadcaster and young fraudcaster over here.
Yes. Yeah.
But
whatever makes you feel better.
Yeah, it does make me feel pretty good. I had a pretty tough week actually, though, in fantasy. And just all around the NFL, it was tough, and it's just getting tougher.
Yeah,
every single day. We'll talk about that. But let's jump right into the roster shakeup. Mr. Tyreek Hill, man, dislocated his leg, tore pretty much every ligament you can in your leg. His ACL is done. He's done for the season, and he doesn't seem too upset about it, man.
No.
He seems pretty happy that he could get away from the Dolphins organization probably for a little while. That'll lead us into our hot takes a little bit later. I got a bonus hot take that I came up with right before the show, so Miles doesn't know about that, but I'll throw that one in too.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was pretty gnarly. It was pretty nasty. I was actually watching a video of this doctor was kind of explaining what happened and like how those things happen. And it just, if you watch the video, he's fully extended, got his leg fully extended, right? And is getting taken down.
Wrapped and twisted.
Right, yeah, to his, around his left side. And as he's doing it, basically snaps ankle, like leg fully hyperextended, snaps in. It's pretty gruesome, but he doesn't seem to mind that much. It's almost like he was kind of waiting for it to happen.
That was his exit ticket. He's going to rest in rehab and collect his money. So he'll be out of there.
And they still owe him a good chunk of change.
They
still owe him a good chunk of change. That and he's got 1 year left on his contract, so. Like I said, we'll chat about that. But a couple other guys that are out this week. We got a lot of injuries around the NFL. Some big name players. Fantasy teams are impacted all over the league. People are scrambling for running backs and wide receivers and trying to make the best trades that they can. And then as soon as they make a trade, that guy goes down. So just last week I canceled our trade because I didn't want CeeDee Lamb after that gruesome injury.
He did.
I did.
That's actually kind of shaping out in a weirdly even way.
Yeah, because Derrick Henry's not doing well anyway.
Yeah, and then CeeDee's he's not out for a long time. So.
Yeah, and we'll get back into fantasy, but I want to go through all these injuries. So Malik Neighbors also ACL. That's gonna create some work for DeAndre Slayton. Sorry, I brain farted for a second. Lamar Jackson is out right now. He's got a hamstring injury. Marlon Humphrey with a calf. Oh no, sorry, that was yours. I stole that from you.
Yeah.
You can have one of mine if you want.
No,
Marlon Humphrey with a calf. Brock Purdy still has some toe soreness. Juwan Jennings still injured. He's going to be out this week. So, and then finally, well, I'll let you take this one because I stole yours, but. The Niners are pretty beat up right now. I don't expect them to win this game on Thursday. I'm going to be completely honest. They're facing a really tough Rams team. One of the things that we said at the beginning of the season was that if the Rams had Matthew Stafford, they were going to win that division.
Yeah. And his back has not been an issue at all.
No, yeah.
He's playing good.
He's firing the rock in there. So,
but Purdy's toe is giving him an issue.
Right, yeah.
This little piggy went to IR. Man, that's just what a rough go for the Niners so far.
Well, yeah, it's every season though. It's every season. We can't have a good run without some injuries. So,
and that is the football side of it, but it's also just.
I think we're just cursed right now.
I think you are.
We got like a 10-year curse on us or something. So,
But yeah, Marlon Humphrey, Jared stole it from me. But yeah, calf injury. Ravens got beat up too. Roquan Smith hurt his hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
One of the better mics in the league. Joe Alt, high ankle sprain. That's a bad one just because they already lost Rashad Slater early in the year. Joe Alt shifts over to left tackle. Now he's got a high ankle sprain. He's going to miss several weeks.
When we talked about that high ankle sprain, it doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but it lingers and it keeps coming back. So, yeah.
100%. Mm-hmm. So that's a bad loss for their O-line. Trey Benson just got put on IR.
Can't believe that.
He's been a fantasy darling ever since Connor got hurt. Not in terms of like production, but just because a good like handcuff backup running back who's going to be taking the ones for the rest of the year. So
I think a lot of people were looking to start him this week with all the running back injuries. Like I think a lot of people, I had him in my starting lineups this week, and I didn't know that he was on IR until like this afternoon. I couldn't believe that was a thing.
Yeah, he's designated to return. I didn't think it was going to be this serious for IR. I really don't even know what the deal is with his knee.
Yeah,
but it's bad enough to go on IR, so he'll be back. So, just have a placeholder ready for that time frame. Another running back, Bucky Irving, sprained his foot, and he was seen in a walking boot and crutches at practice. That's unfortunate.
Well, and that's another surprise too. I don't think anyone was expecting that. This morning I got the call on that. That was super, super disappointing. I got him in a couple of my leagues. He's been one of my big hitters, and honestly, he's one of the main reasons that I've done so well in a couple of my leagues. So that's going to be a big hit. It's going to be tough to replace. I hope that it's not more than a week that he's off. To be completely honest, if he's in a boot, I don't expect him to play this week. I'd be really surprised. They still have him as questionable, but I mean, I think it's going to be Rachaad White that carries the rock. So
can they just at least beat the Seahawks, please?
Hey,
in
man,
spite of his absence,
the Seahawks are tough though. They got a tough defense over there, and I think that their offense can be corralled, but their defense is really tough, and that's what won them the Super Bowl. So
correct.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of hurt players. Hurts to watch. It also hurt me to watch some of these biggest losers we got and our biggest winners. This one hurt especially because it was against the Rams. When I first saw this, I was just like, of course this works for the Rams. Biggest loser is Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. I'm sure you guys seen it. It was a pretty big buzz on Sunday. He caught a pass down the sideline. He was going in to score, and it really baffles my mind that this is still an issue for some players, but you celebrate too early, you drop the ball before you cross the goal line,
and you fumble it into the back of guys.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
It's like, do franchises need to start like every rookie, every second-year player just practice running across the goal line, making sure you like don't even drop the ball. Like we're setting a standard. Like if you're gonna drop the ball, you got to give it to the official like 10 seconds after you cross, just to make sure, because it's such an avoidable issue, and it really frustrates me when people do that. It's just you get psyched, like you're in the moment, you get psyched out, like you want to celebrate, of course, but he cost his team, and not only that, he cost it on a holding call on a Jonathan Taylor go-ahead touchdown run.
Mm-hmm.
He was taking points off the board, and the Rams prevailed. They benefited from it, as gross as it is. So just young players, man, you just got to be smarter. You just got to be more disciplined, because stuff like that will not only like it can lose you a roster spot, like you could be benched. It's going to lose your team the game.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, where does he go from here? Where does he land on that roster depth chart now after two big penalties? And and that sucks for him, because he made a nice play. I mean, he made a great. It was a well thrown ball, but he made a great catch.
Yeah,
and these are just mental errors.
Yeah,
they're mental errors, and. So maybe they give him another shot, see what happens. But those are things that cost you the game. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
We missed one more on the roster shakeup. One more Niner. It was Mr. Ricky Pearsall.
Oh,
He is
yeah.
also
Slick Rick.
out. We just found that out as we were coming onto the pod today. So, yeah, the Niners are in shambles. Niners offense is in shambles. I was even telling Miles I don't know how well CMC is going to do. I imagine that they're going to load the box.
Yeah, they're not going to
And,
let him
Yeah,
beat them.
Thursday night's game is not going to be fun for me.
Yeah.
So, well, I had biggest winner this week, and my biggest winner is going to be Ashton Jeanty. Had a great week. Finally broke out. 138 yards, 1 TD, 21 carries. He had 2 receptions for 17 yards as well. So I'm curious to see, are we going to continue to see this kind of production from Jeanty?
I don't know, because it is the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone kind of has their offensive get-right game against the Bears. I still think Genty's a good player. We'll just wait and see. That offensive line still isn't very good.
Yeah, it's pretty.
His
pretty
stats
soft.
his stats allude to that because of the high percentage of carries where he's being met in the backfield, and the high percentage of yards he is getting are yards after contact. So, that was a good breakout game for him.
It's a good confidence booster,
yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure. That could turn things for him. You still need your line to block for you, though.
Absolutely. I don't think that'll be consistently replicated, but maybe it will be. He's back to his Michael Myers stance that he did at Boise State. So does that make a big difference? Who knows?
Well, something else too. Sorry about that. Something else too that kind of might plague him a little bit too is that Geno's not looking good.
Oh, Geno's throwing bad picks left and right.
Mm-hmm. So those are a couple things that could really hurt him there. I also just got another notification. Sterling Shepard is also questionable. So my teams are falling apart right and left. Baker just went questionable. So we're seeing. I think I've gotten 15 notifications today telling me that players are either questionable or out or on IR. It's pretty brutal out there.
What's going on, man?
I know,
the
man.
NFL, man, they're suffering right now.
Yeah, I can't even begin to imagine what the level of play is gonna be this upcoming week. I don't think it's gonna be very good. And so that brings us kind of to the game that we picked for this week. It's time for the dual threat bet. All right, man. So both Miles and I were losers this last week. Not very happy about that. I kind of getting my butt kicked over here at 1-7. Miles is 3-5. So, he's up 2 games on me, but there's still a lot of time. It's a long season. We've got a lot of bets left to go, and if I got to run the beer mile, I guess I run the beer mile. Mine from last week. We had the Rams-Colts game. I had Kyron Williams' last touchdown of the game. Unfortunately, it was Rams receivers who got both the first and last touchdowns of the game.
Yeah.
So that's why we had the L. Miles, what did you have last week?
I had Jonathan Taylor first touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So neither of us hit. I don't really mind. You're not gaining any ground on me. Let's show some solace to a young fraudcaster over here.
Young fraudcaster,
yeah. I'm still ahead by 2 games, so I'm not mad about it. So long as we both lose, I don't mind.
Well, man, I'm looking for a dub this week. I'm feeling good, feeling confident. We kind of picked honestly not a very good game. It's going to be played in London. The one advantage that I think the Vikings are going to have is that they're staying over there, right? Because they played in Ireland the week before. They played in Dublin.
Did they?
Yeah, they played the Steelers in Dublin. So,
oh wow,
yeah. So they're staying over there, so they're gonna have a little bit of an advantage, I think, over the Browns. And let's see what you got, Miles.
Alrighty. Okay.
Are you happy about it?
Yes.
Oh man, that means I'm probably not going to be happy about mine.
And then I'll be happy about it.
Okay.
I got Jerry Jeudy, first catch under 9.5 yards. Joe Flacco, I think he's got some sort of vendetta against Jerry Jeudy.
So here's what I'm hoping for. Screen pass to Jeudy on the right, runs it up for 11 yards.
No, that'll get snuffed out by Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett and I will be representing all Mileses with this bet, just like you and Jared Goff did.
Well, I got Justin Jefferson 5+ receiving receptions in the first half. So I think I'm probably getting a dub this week. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think that he can muster together at least 5 receptions in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, if not, man, I'm gonna be pretty upset. The second half I could understand if they're like up by a bunch and aren't throwing the ball around.
The second half doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
So
I
dang. I liked that one.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a big catch from Jeudy. I'll be up at 6 a.m. watching that game.
I won't be. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, Jared said that he would tell me in honest, good faith fashion if my bet hit. So we all know that I'll believe him, right?
Right. Well, I am very trustworthy, of course.
Well, you weren't trustworthy with your fantasy take this week, dragging my name through the dirt. Like I said, Jared, I trusted you. We had a conversation. I was like, hey, can you do the socials this week? And you're like, yeah, man, I got you. I love you. And then I look at my feed. Miles is a fraud. Put a poll up. Everyone's voting yes that I'm a fraud. And I was down by
actually,
like
68% of voters felt like you were a fraud.
Yeah, what the hell, guys? What am I just a punching bag now?
I think that says a lot.
Well, that says a lot about how wrong you guys were because at that point I was down like 40 points in fantasy. I just was not looking good. And I still had Bo Nix and Breece Hall to play on Monday Night Football. My opponent still had Jamar Chase and the Dolphins defense. So I was kind of like, yeah, this, Breece Hall hasn't been a world beater, and then Bo Nix has been up and down, so I'm like, I'm probably cooked. But Bo Nix came down from heaven, and he blessed me with an outstanding performance of basically 27 points if you don't count the kneels. But man, that was a sight to see. Put me ahead. I believe I won by .38. I went ugly, baby.
Pal. Trust me, you're not that guy.
Yeah, winning ugly again, Miles. What you said? 0.3?
0.38. I won by. And I think
still winning ugly. Would you have 110 point?
Not even.
You didn't even have 110 points.
It was like 101.
See,
if that. And then
this is still fraudulent behavior.
I don't care, bro. I don't care.
This is still fraudulent behavior, Miles.
I don't care.
Oh my goodness.
I do not care.
All right, man.
I redeemed myself. I saw all you guys pointing the finger and laughing at me, talking about my points again.
68% of America believes that you're a fraud, Miles.
Well, you know what?
68%.
You know what?
Actually, I'm pretty sure we got 6 votes total. So,
and I voted no, and then I got on.
So you're one of the 2 votes that
and the
that
other
voted
one,
no.
The other one is the 2 Point Perspective account that I logged into and voted no on.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So 100% of our viewers actually voted yes, or 100% of our voters. Excuse me, our voters.
Are we sure Abner didn't vote no?
No, I'm pretty sure he voted yes. Yeah.
Well, then he's just a hypocrite because he said him and I are in the same boat. He's
if
undefeated in ninth in point scoring.
If you were both of the no votes, then that means that
Abner, I love you. If that
means
that was
that
you,
100% of voters voted yes.
Abner, you and I are being backed into a corner, and we just continue to prevail. So don't listen to young fraudcaster. Come to the light.
Fraud alert.
Come to the light where I see value in you as a friend, and I don't drag your name through the dirt.
I do care about you, Miles. And that's why I'll be happy to say that Miles is 4-0. He was very nervous about playing fantasy this season. And he's managed to squeak out a 4-0 record. That's obviously going to change come week 8. Miles
Obviously.
will at the very least have his very first loss after week 8. I think we all know. I went 2 for 4 in my leagues this week. My Yahoo leagues are really struggling, honestly. I'm too banged up all over the place. Derrick Henry's kind of screwing me over, so that's a little bit disappointing. And then with Bucky going down, one of those leagues I'm 4-0, and then another one I'm 3-1 in my NFL and then sleeper league.
Mm-hmm.
I have Bucky in both. And
Nice.
he's been putting up huge numbers for me, so I think I'm gonna be struggling this week if he's not playing. And honestly, even if he is playing, if he's in a boot, he's gonna be so limited that I would be surprised if they even played him.
They're not going to play him.
There'd be no
highly doubt
reason
that.
to. So
Especially
that's gonna be
against that
tough. And
defense.
I had Trey Benson that I thought maybe I could slip in there. Now your Cardinals are screwing me too. Right and left. But
a tough world.
So I got some trade candidates for you though. We have quite a few injuries around the league, and I have some trade candidates. They're mostly wide receivers, but I have a couple bonus running backs here at the end. First trade candidate is going to be your boy Marvin Harrison Jr. Throughout this season, he's 16 for 27 on receptions, 208 yards, 2 TDs. He's starting to come up a little bit in the fantasy points, so
He's good because you can buy low. He's been
right.
Similar to me. Marvin's being dragged through the dirt. His name is
Similar
he's being
to
called.
you.
He's being called a bust. I'm being called a fraud. But second half we both prevailed. We both played better. So you can still I agree with that. You can buy him for low. Now,
well, and I think just to clarify, that's what all of these candidates are on this list. They're buy low candidates with high ceilings. So that's why they're on this list. I'm not telling you to go trade for Justin Jefferson. I'm not telling you to go trade for Devon Achane. These are candidates that you might be able to buy low and have very high ceilings. So
yes.
I just wanted to clarify that. Sorry, go ahead, Miles.
Sorry, I'm just a Marvin homer, so I wanted to jump in there.
Yeah, do it, man.
But yeah, continue, please.
My next candidate on here is going to be Zay Flowers. He's actually getting a couple rushes, and when Lamar Jackson is playing, he's one of Lamar's favorite wide receivers.
You had an efficient stat for that, right?
Yeah.
Catches and targets.
So he's got 3 rushes on this season. Only 12 yards, but if they're giving him the rock, then they're trying to make something work. It's only a matter of time before he breaks one of those off. Usually, he's working in those jet sweeps, probably from the slot. He's 23 for 31 on receptions, 305 yards, and a touchdown. Now the touchdown stat may make you worry a little bit, but he's gonna start seeing some more red zone targets. He's got, like I said, 305 yards. That's a really good receiving stat through 4 weeks, and we could see some big numbers down the stretch, especially if other guys maybe start to get a little more injured. Another candidate for you, Deebo Samuel. I did see today that he's questionable, so that that's a change from when I put this together yesterday. But Deebo's getting still some opportunities to carry the rock as well. 7 rushes, 46 yards, and a rushing touchdown. He's really, really efficient with the receptions. He's been targeted 27 times. He's got 22 receptions, 204 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So he's getting the touchdowns, 3 touchdowns through 4 weeks. Terry McLaurin is not producing well, right? He wasn't at camp. He doesn't quite have the same chemistry that Deebo's been building in the offseason. I know that Jaden Daniels is out right now, but it doesn't seem to matter right now for Deebo Samuel. He put up over 20 points last week in fantasy. That's a guy that you can, once again, probably buy low because other people probably drafted him low and have other starting wide receivers. So another buy low candidate. Finally on my list before our 2 bonus running backs, this is another running back. It's Amarian Hampton. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people are still kind of on the fence. He's had a couple of good weeks, but if you are willing to give up something good. I think this guy has a huge ceiling. He's really starting to break out. The Chargers offensive line is really starting to come together. 54 carries, so he's getting the rock a lot. 270 yards, 2 TDs, 14 receptions, 110 yards. So he's making a lot out of his receptions as well. Almost averaging 10 yards per reception. He's close there.
Wow.
So he's making the most out of his opportunities. It seems like here down the stretch, like I said, he's had a couple of good weeks, a couple of 20 plus point games. So if you can finagle him from somebody, I think that could be a good pickup, especially right now where running backs are light. And I got 2 other trade candidates for you. I don't have any stats for him, but Cam Scattaboo, obviously, right? If you can, I think you can buy low on Scat. If somebody's willing to give him up, there's another high ceiling. He's going to be in control of that backfield all season long as he stays healthy. Tyrone Tracy is out. Devin Singletary's not going to be seeing the same volume that he is. And a lot of people are saying he's a crayon eater, man.
Dude,
you just watch him run, and he's just he like is running to the hits. He wants them. So that's a guy I want on my fantasy team as long as he's not going to get injured.
I love Cam Scattaboo, bro.
Yeah, he's fun to watch.
Cam Scattaboo.
He's fun to watch for sure.
His mentality is just like he won't even run through a wall for you. He'll run through like concrete.
Yeah,
He'll run
I know.
Through a rock.
Well, and I have to say I was wrong. I was wrong a couple of weeks ago. We told Ethan. We told Ethan that Scat was not going to be the guy, but that was before the Tracy injury.
Yeah.
So that was also before they made the switch at quarterback. I'm sold on Scat right now. I'm here for it. So I'm sorry, I'm switching up, but I will put it out there. I was wrong. Also, Javonte Williams. I don't think that a lot of people were expecting Javonte to have the season that he's having right now. The Cowboys' offensive line is blocking pretty well. Their offense is really, honestly, it's humming. It is humming.
It's good.
Their
Brian
defense
Schottenheimer
can't really seem to pull it together, but their offense is humming, and they are putting up points right and left. Javonte is running the ball all over the field, so that one's going to be a little bit tougher, I think. He's been pretty consistent since the beginning of the season, which probably people are a little bit more comfortable sitting on him. But if it's a wide receiver needy team and they're getting a little nervous about that, he might be one of the trade candidates to look at.
For sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Other than that, man, I think we're ready to move on to hot takes. Sorry, guys, I dropped my anxiety pencil. I had to pick it up. I'm a nervous sitter, man. I gotta play. I gotta do something with my hands. I gotta play. But it is time for hot takes, man. And I'm gonna go first here, Miles. We talked about Tyreek Hill at the beginning of the pod. Tyreek Hill, he's on the move this offseason.
He's got to be.
There's no way that he's staying.
He's
there.
got to be.
Yeah, I think he's on the move. And my hot take is that Tyreek Hill is going to the Titans in the offseason. They have a need for a number 1 wide receiver over there. They have the salary cap to support it. They got a young quarterback who is going to want a guy to throw to. So I could easily see them making that move and then drafting offensive line. So
yes.
And I think that would be a good move for them. Another possible, I said I had a little bonus, another possible trade candidate for the Titans, AJ Brown. Maybe a return of the prodigal,
back and forth.
Little prodigal son returns.
That makes sense because you can see, despite the fact that the Eagles are 4-0 and they're winning in like some of the weirdest ways, AJ Brown is still upset.
Right. Well, here's the thing. They have the Eagles have a pretty decent receiving core without Brown, honestly. Like it's not top tier, but it's pretty decent, right?
It's reliable.
Devontae Smith becomes your number 1. They have a couple guys on their depth chart there that could be pretty good, and then their tight end situation is pretty decent as well. So I could see that happening. I know that he's not that happy. It's like a pretty well known thing, I think, throughout the NFL, right? He's not getting the targets, but he's still an elite guy and he wants to be great. And so I could easily see that trade being made. He's on a $96 million contract, man. For them to be able to shed that, I think would be huge for the team, for the Eagles. And like I said, the Titans have the salary cap to take it on.
Absolutely. So. I wouldn't put that past Howie Roseman to do that. Especially if a team like the Titans, who probably shouldn't have traded him away for what they did in the first place, 2nd round pick. So if they can rehabilitate that, give Cam Ward somebody to build with, of course they still need to draft offensive linemen. Like that poor guy is he can't do anything with the pressure he's seeing.
Right.
So,
but it would give them a little more flexibility to be able to do that in the draft. Now they're probably I don't know what their picks look like. They might have some draft capital early, maybe a first and a second, if they have the capital available. If they only have one first-round pick, I would not be offering that pick.
No.
They need to spend that.
No, I'd rather draft. I'd rather draft a receiver in the first round than trade for AJ Brown.
Well, I think they need to draft an offensive lineman.
That's what they should
really
do.
Need to start supporting that line a little bit, because they got Tony Pollard over there, who's a good runner. And just like Gene T, he just has no room to run.
Yeah.
He's got nowhere to go, so no holes to hit. And we've seen his struggles a little bit this season. So, Miles, what was your hot take?
So we kind of dogged on the Saints before the season. I think a lot of people did. They're not a team to scoff at. They're not. They play pretty tough. Come on. They're not a team to scoff at. They had Buffalo down pretty close in that fourth quarter. They had the Niners down pretty close in that fourth quarter. Cardinals, the same. They're playing the Giants this week, and I don't want to say that win against the Chargers was fraudulent. I don't think it was, but
I think the Chargers probably lost that game.
They lost
it
more than the Giants won it, because it wasn't Dart played good, but he wasn't a world beater.
Right.
And I think the Saints front seven is pretty good.
Do you think
Jackson
Dart's going to be exposed this week?
What's that?
You think Jackson Dart's going to be exposed this week? Or let's say, let me rephrase that. Brian Dable is going to be exposed this week. A little bit more. Jackson Dart's young. You can't expose a guy that's had one game. That doesn't count.
I don't know if it'll be like a complete exposure, but I think it'll be a close game. And I think the Saints are going to come out on top. I think Rattler will outduel Jackson Dart.
So let me ask you this. Giants lose that game. Does Brian Dable still have a job?
I don't foresee them firing him if they lose that week.
You don't?
Like that week. I could still see them firing him for sure. Like mid-season after the season, but I think
I'm just curious, like if there's a game this season that would, and I'm not asking you to, I'm sure you don't have this prepared, but I'm not asking you to call out a game that would do that. I'm just curious, like, is there a game this season that the Giants have on their mind where they're like, okay, this is the one? If we're,
I'm sure they do.
Like where are they going to draw the line? Mid-season, how miserable does it have to be for Giants fans? And I know that they're probably coming off a little bit of a high after beating the Chargers, but I'm just curious.
Well, I think starting Jackson Dart will buy him more time. Let's see, Eagles, Broncos, Eagles again. 49ers.
Yeah, it's tough.
Bears.
It's tough for them down the stretch.
Yeah, because they also have a really hard schedule. I think it was the hardest schedule in the league. So how much grace are you willing to give Brian Dable with that? Especially if Jackson Dart
till the end of the season. Maybe they do, but it's not going to get easier.
It's not. Yeah, I think it's very reliant on how Jackson Dart plays, because this is the first time that Dable was able to draft his own guy. He took over with Danny Dimes. Obviously, we see that New York was the problem with Danny Dimes and Saquon.
Right.
Russ got benched already. Jameis isn't even being considered from what we see. So I don't
we
know,
just
man.
see Jameis go to the Bengals already?
I agree. Dude.
Everyone wants to see it. Do it.
I was high on Jake Browning. I'm not anymore.
I
He's
was
played bad.
not high on Jake Browning, to be completely. Even that one game, I just had a feeling. I had a bad feeling in my gut about it, and I never looked twice at him.
He showed to be a good backup in the past. I don't know what happened, man. Like that what a fall off, dude. And that's just kind of disappointing because I like Jamar and I like T. Higgins, so I want to see them produce. I think they're good enough.
I also want to see T. Higgins produce because he's sitting on my bench right now, not putting up any points week to week.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that Jamar didn't produce for my fantasy game, but yeah, I agree. Jameis, go on the move to Cincinnati and let the Giants figure it out.
Yeah,
with Dable and Dart, because I don't know. I could nothing will surprise me with his job.
Yeah, I don't think anything will surprise me either. We're seeing a lot of firings happen around the MLB right now, and like same thing that like there's just a lot of teams that I'm not really surprised about. I'm feeling the same way about a few NFL teams right now. We talked about the Dolphins and
I think the Bengals are another team. I think Zach Taylor is a fire candidate.
Can you put that on him though?
I think you can.
Not
outside of injuries,
like,
you can't put the injuries on him. But
right. I mean, it's so tough. It's so tough. I mean, you got all the pieces there, but your quarterback's not there.
Yeah.
You don't have your main centerpiece, the guy that knows how to run your offense. So, can you put that on the coach?
He's had some hot seat moments in the past. They've always started pretty bad under him. This season they were 2-0. Were they 2-0? I mean, they were starting over 500 until Joe Burrow got hurt.
Right.
So I'm not putting the injuries on him, but I've never been a fan of Zach Taylor.
I think for the Bengals, and I've not been quiet about this, but they need to look at front office and
because that's atrocious.
Their training staff and why are they not investing into their offensive line? Why are they not putting more money into their offensive line to protect this $200 million quarterback that they're trying to put out on the field every single year?
Right. He's already been sacked more times than Andrew Luck in the same amount of games. I think he's been sacked like 30 more times.
Yeah.
He eclipsed 200.
And I've said this.
Which is disgusting.
I think that Joe Burrow, purely talent-wise, is the best quarterback in the NFL.
I would agree.
I believe that. So, look at what the Bengals are doing right now.
Yeah.
Look at how bad they are without him.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, we got on a little tangent there.
Yeah.
But we love talking about some just some hot seat, gross football and players we love. So
yeah, we're coming into the fourth quarter of our podcast right now, man. Yeah. I think it's time for our fourth quarter question of the week.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this week's fourth quarter question of the week is brought to you by a gentleman that we kind of shit on last week. We gave him a hard time, and so I think we're finally going to get him on. We'll see if he picks up. I'm not holding my breath at this point.
I'm not either.
But it's going to be Jack, our boy Jack. He's the commissioner of our fantasy football league, and he's having a tough time in fantasy. But he's got some questions for me about Brock Purdy. I know he's going to give me a hard time about it, but we're prepared, and I'm sure
you guys always clash on this topic, and with Kyle Shanahan too.
And he's a Niner fan.
Yeah,
too.
He's a Niner fan. So, but he is not a Purdy Shanahan fan.
Well, and I myself, like I'm not at a point where I'm like, no criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not who I am. I just don't always agree with his specific points about it.
You think he's too extreme?
Yeah. So that's well, let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, you guys hear it for yourself.
Hello.
Jack, what's up, man? You're on the 2 Point Perspective with Young Broadcaster and Miles on the mic. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing
Good,
good. I'm
brother.
excited to hear you rip into your own franchise, my boy.
Oh yeah, did I forget to
Yeah.
mention that Jack is also a Niner fan?
It might
Yeah,
not
I
sound
don't know
like
if
it.
I don't know if I'll be ripping the franchise, fellas, but there is one man who I have some beef with recently. I'm not gonna lie.
And you've made your opinions very loud in the fantasy group chat. And
Mhm.
we got a lot of Niner fans in there, so
Mhm.
their opinions being thrown all over the place. But Jack, I think you have the most interesting one.
Yeah, so my opinion, I know it's very much a hot take, but I'm very interested to hear what you think about this, Jared, and what you think as a fan of the division rival, Miles. But my hot take is that Brock Purdy is not the Niners franchise QB.
Well, I mean, they paid him, so like how you could believe that. I could agree with some aspects of that, but I just don't see them moving off of him. Like, what alternative would you have, especially with that contract now?
Right, and this is something that Miles and I talk about, and we've had multiple conversations about this. If you're going to move on from a guy, whether it's a coach, a quarterback, GM, whatever it is, you have to do that knowing that there is someone better to replace them.
It's the same argument I had for Kyler.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyler makes me mad. I think he's very divisive.
But who's
and
going to replace
polarizing,
him?
but who's going to replace him?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when you're in win now mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll be honest with the mounting injuries for the Niners are not in a win now mode. But they did
Before the season.
They did just pay him.
Yeah.
And next season they're gonna be in win now mode. They're gonna they're staying in that mode. They're not going into a rebuild. So they're not gonna be drafting a new quarterback. No one's gonna take on Purdy's contract. They're gonna have to live that out for the next 5 years. Does he sit on the bench? Maybe. But again, there has to be someone better to replace him. Is that Mac Jones? I don't think so. I do not think so.
Jack, what say you?
Yeah, so I would agree with you there that replacing him is not going to be an option anymore. I was pretty vocal, and I want to give a shout out to our good friend Tay Williams as well, because I know he's with me on this. I didn't want the Niners to pay him this past offseason. I wanted to see one more year. And as Jared mentioned, we weren't in a win now mode. I was curious to see what he would look like with somewhat of a worse roster than he had coming into the league. Obviously, a lot of his weapons aren't there. And that's not his fault. Kittle injured, obviously, and now Ricky Pearsall and Jennings as well. But he wasn't going to have value this year, and I was curious to see how he would look. And especially after last year, I think we can all agree that he severely underperformed last season in the amount of games he did play. And so far this year in his 2 games, it's been pretty rough. I think week 1 against Seattle, we were lucky to get the win. I think he tried his best to give that game away with his 2 horrific interceptions. And last week as well, I think he was the entire reason we lost to Jacksonville. I mean, he had 2 terrible interceptions and the game-losing fumble.
I hear what you're saying, but I also think that there is something to be said about his injuries as well, right? In a first game of the season against the Seahawks, he was injured immediately, like on the first drive, right? Turf toe, he's got a messed up arm. So those are things that are lingering as well, and that's also why he's not playing this week in week 5, right? He was out for 2 weeks with turf toe, and if for anyone who doesn't know what turf toe is, it's a separated ligament.
It's just some ligament
correct?
issue in your toe.
It's
a bitch.
It's got a silly name, but it's honestly it's pretty brutal. It seems
is.
like, right? Like we just saw Joe Burrow
out for 3 months.
Out for
He
3
needs
months
surgery.
because of it. Yeah, so that's not a light injury, even though it has a silly name. But he's still suffering from that. So he's also not as mobile as we're used to seeing him. He hasn't played that much this season really, and so for a 2-game sample, I'm gonna give him a little bit of grace, especially without his weapons. Like I said, his only other weapon that he's really had has been Ricky Pearsall, and
he's emerging.
Right. So
Yeah, so
and the O-line is also, let me say this as well. The O-line is not what it used to be either, right? We've had some losses on the O-line, and those things start to mount up too, right? If you can't count on guys to lay down blocks for you, that's going to cause issues for you as well, right? And we see that with McCaffrey right now, right? McCaffrey is seeming to be a little bit of a shell of himself as well, and I think, some of that has to do with his own injury, but some of that also comes from the offensive line.
That running game as a whole is not what we're used to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. Jack, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so I just wanted to quickly give a little rebuttal to what Jared was saying about the lack of offensive line and weapons. If he's going to be the franchise guy with the contract that he just got, some of that's not going to be there. You can't be a QB making $53 million a year in the NFL and expecting to have all the weapons that he's had previously. I mean, you look at guys like Josh Allen and Mahomes who have done the most with the least amount of talent around them. Now, granted, they both had good defenses and good aspects of the offense around them. Like, for example, the Bills have always had a above average O-line. The Niners O-line has always been below. But Josh Allen is throwing to nobodies out there. I mean, Keon Coleman's a good player. Khalil Shakir, great player. But, they don't have the elite talent that the Niners have had, and they've done more with less, in my opinion. So I just can't see justifying the contract that he received based off his past performance. And that leads into the second thing I was going to say, which is these interceptions that he's been throwing are nothing new. I've got a stat here. In his last 19 career regular season starts, which is half of his career 38 games started for the Niners, he's got 26 touchdowns and 20 interceptions. So this is nothing new. He's been throwing these picks over the last 2 years. And again, that's why I was hesitant to see him get the contract. Obviously, I'm still going to root for him as long as he's on the team. I'm going to hope he succeeds, but I don't know, man.
It is kind of you have to lay in the bed that you make with these contracts, because I understand your perspective of you see him play really well when he had all this talent around him. And I will never fault a quarterback for playing well, even if you have the Avengers on your roster, because that's just good team building.
Right.
And that's still being a good quarterback to have the wherewithal to get it to your elite playmakers. But going into last year, where you see that these weapons are falling off, his roster isn't as good, and you see his play take a downturn, I understand that aspect of okay, well, you saw that. Let's see how he does it again when you're trading away and cutting all these players, especially on defense, and you have an offensive personnel that has shown injury prone potential. So let's see how he looks when he doesn't have that elite roster around him, and then we can assess his contract. But I think that was going to be a tricky thing to do, just because he wanted to get paid. Him and his agent were working with that front office to get paid. Well, there was even time where he could have sat out if he didn't get a contract.
Well, and I want to say this. I do not think that the NFL contract situation is a good thing. I think that it is completely oversaturated right now. I mean, we got guys all over the league making money that they shouldn't be making, and
that all started from Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and it's pretty bad, honestly. It's really blown up the market. It's set a standard that these quarterbacks. I want to clarify this too. Brock Purdy is not Josh Allen. He is. I'm not saying that he is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I'm not saying that by any means. You know what I mean? I don't think he should be making the money that he's making. But that contract is also not his fault either.
No.
Right?
No, put yourself in his shoes.
Exactly.
Why would you not want to ask for that much money?
Well, and that's the standard, right?
That's the market.
The standard tells you what you're supposed to be. And so if you're making $20 million as a starting quarterback, why not just go somewhere else? And if, it's a gamble. They're taking a gamble.
Yeah.
So any other thoughts, Jack?
No, just the last thing I'll mention. I think you might have mentioned already. Without his weapons, it's gonna be a tough look. And I know Miles was just mentioning it. That's why I thought we should have waited a year to decide on paying him or not, because so far it's looked rough. And like I was saying, this is what it's gonna be going forward with the team. So, and it's not his fault. I don't blame him for getting his money. There's so many atrocious QB contracts in the NFL. You look at players like Trevor Lawrence and Tua, who I do think Purdy is better than.
Or Dak Prescott.
I think Dak is significantly better than Brock Purdy. I mean, he's doing way more with less this year.
I kind of like Dak. I like Dak Prescott. That would be interesting to see Dak in Kyle Shanahan's system.
Yeah, and you know, like
I'm
I was
not a big Dak fan.
Mhm.
It could, that could be a cowboy bias too.
Yeah, no, but like I was going to mention, you know, the O line hasn't done him any favors, obviously, and I don't think Kyle Shanahan has done him any favors either with the play calling. As Jared, as I'm sure you know, you can't audible in the Kyle Shanahan system, and I think one of Brock's biggest strengths in college and coming into the league was he is an elite processor of the game, like a Drew Brees, like a Peyton Manning. I think the ability now that he is the franchise QB to call these audibles at the line of scrimmage to make the adjustments would really help his level of play, especially when he is injured. And again, it goes back to Kyle Shanahan trotting him out there while he's got this turf toe, and now it's worse.
Right.
So I don't think he's been done any favors there.
Right. Yeah, it seems as though this season he's kind of almost been set up to fail as well. I'm not disagreeing with you at all on anything, but I think that he's been set up a little bit to fail this season. Once again, like we said, he's also not getting the support from the run game that he's gotten in the past too. So he's gotten, a little bit used to that. Teams are game planning for McCaffrey up front, and they don't really have to game plan for any other weapons because there aren't any. So
it's forcing them to drop back 30 plus times a game,
right.
And then your below average O line he's gonna take hits, he's gonna be pressured, he's gonna get sacked, and that's just gonna lead to those injuries that we already see.
Well, and he doesn't want to take those sacks, so he's rushing to throw the ball as well, making mistakes, throwing the ball into triple coverage, which is, and you're absolutely right, Jack. Some of these throws into triple coverage are horrible. They're super egregious.
Especially on first down as well.
Right.
I know I've seen this one before. He leads the NFL the last 2 seasons on interception percentage on first down. He's got to get it. He's got a gunslinger mentality, it seems like, and he needs to learn to just take the play, maybe eat a sack or get rid of the ball and live to see another down instead of risking an interception.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, thanks so much for being on. We really appreciate you coming prepared as well. You brought the stats.
Yeah, finally got you on.
Yeah, I know. Man, it's about time.
No problem. Thank you for having me on, boys.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, of course.
Before you go, can you tell us a little bit about how you're feeling about your fantasy team? I know that you feel like you're on the up and up. You made some trades this week. I think that you and Miles both got some good value, and you needed a wide receiver, and so you went out and got one. Tell us a little bit about how you're feeling this upcoming week.
Yeah, so I started playing fantasy as a sophomore in high school, not a junior in college, so about 6 years, and I've never missed the playoffs, but I think this might be the year. I came out to a rough start. I'm currently 1-3, so might need to start hitting the treadmill soon here, but I lost my first round pick, Malik Neighbors, to the torn ACL, which is devastating. And as someone who's torn an ACL on turf, it's got to go. It's ridiculous that the NFL even still allows their players to be on turf.
This shouldn't be controversial, right? Like,
no, it shouldn't be. It should be banned.
I agree.
But to continue what I was saying about fantasy, I did make a trade. My second round pick was Devon Achane. And I moved him and Tyler Warren, who I took in, I believe, the 11th round. So that was a steal for me. I moved those two for Roma Dunze. My fantasy quarterback, funnily enough, was Brock Purdy. So maybe I don't hate him that much. And I moved Brock Purdy, Tyler Warren, and Devon Achane for Roma Dunze, Justin Fields, and J.K. Dobbins. So I'm feeling pretty good about it, adding to my team. And then I've got a trade with Miles that's my favorite Niner, George Kittle, for Jordan Mason, who was on my bench. So
that was
I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, you're in a tough spot. You're having to have an estate sale pretty much,
right,
with just because, like you told me, you're going boom or bust. So
who are you replacing at tight end until George Kittle comes back?
I was going to pick up Darren Waller, but I decided to roll with Harold Fanning. I think he'll have a better matchup this week.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, man, I wish you the best. I hope you get a dub this week, as long as it's not against me. And, appreciate having you on.
All right. Yeah, thank
thanks,
you
Jack,
again for having me on. I appreciate the conversation. I'm glad to be on.
Right
All
on.
right, man.
Take care, brother.
Yeah, take care, bro.
All right, guys. Well, that brings us to the end of our show. We appreciate your viewership. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, comment under the posts. We just put out another one right before the pod.
Yep.
So we're gonna start picking up our social media presence a little bit more and just doing whatever we can to get you guys to engage. So if you guys want to be on the pod, let us know. We'd love to have you on. If not, you're gonna be seeing some more prank calls and
And the thing with prank calls, I think they're fun, they're funny. I really don't want to be the one to do it. So that means Jared's going to have to constantly do it. And I would much rather
don't mind,
talk to
but
you guys.
I'd love to see you do a prank call.
It would be a disaster.
That could be as funny as
it'd be so embarrassing.
As the prank call
My face
itself.
would get all red. I'd be laughing before I can even say anything.
Well, I hope that we get to see it happen.
So this is why you guys need to leave comments, submit your questions so that we can get you on the pod so I don't have to be absolutely embarrassed on the phone.
Yeah, man.
With these places. So
Instagram and TikTok, get in there. We got the link tree ready. So yeah, and you can also comment under any of the episodes for whatever platform you're listening on. So
yes.
We appreciate you guys' viewership, and we'll see you next week.